a little bit about what's going on in Hollywood. That about 60,000 members are impacted by these series of agreements. So pretty big contract news.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Are you comfortable talking about what's been going on in Hollywood?
Sure, yeah. There's some big contract or tentative agreement news with IATSE that came out this week, June 25th and June 27th. So back-to-back news. June 25th, the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, IATSE, and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, AMPTP, announced a tentative agreement on all issues for the Hollywood Basic Agreement and Videotape Agreement negotiations. And then, like I said, a couple days later, on June 27th, IATSE and AMPTP announced a tentative agreement on all issues for the Area Standards Agreement. Combined, is my understanding, these two separate negotiations ultimately impact about 60,000 IATSE members on the West Coast. So it's a pretty big deal for a lot of folks inside of IATSE, particularly out in the Hollywood area. So the tentative agreement is now pending ratification by the union's membership. Members and signatories will have the opportunity to review the agreement in the form of a detailed summary, which is supposed to be coming out soon, as well as a memorandum of agreement, MOA, which is supposed to be coming out, a little bit later. But I saw one release said estimated 2 weeks following this announcement. So we'll see there. That's some of the, official words from press releases. Wanted to mention here from the Basic Agreement Negotiating Committee, they did release a letter with some details about the agreement. A couple things to note: there's going to be a multi-local webinar taking place on Saturday, July 13th to review the proposed language in the Memorandum of Agreement, the MOA. So some of the proposed changes in the basic tentative agreement include scale rate increases of 7%, 4%, and 3.5% over the 3-year term. Hourly workers will receive triple time when any workday exceeds 15 elapsed hours. All on-call classifications will now receive double time on the 7th day of the work week, and additional increases in pay will take effect on non-dramatic productions under the videotape supplemental agreement. The tentative deal includes new protections around artificial intelligence, including language that ensures no employee is required to provide AI prompts in any manner that would result in the displacement of any covered employee. These changes in the basic agreement are in addition to the tentative agreements reached in the local agreement negotiations. For the motion picture industry pension and health plans, the tentative agreement includes additional payments from employers that would address the $670 million funding gap, including new streaming residuals. Additionally, no participant shall incur a break in service for plan year 2023. So that's a little bit about the basic agreement, the 2024 basic agreement. As I said, the basic agreement had a TA reached on the 25th, and then 2 days later, on the 27th, was the area standards agreement. So the bargaining committee there also put out a letter. Just a couple of highlights from that. Same process in terms of timeline. On Sunday, July 14th, will be the multi-local webinar taking place to discuss the language. But some of the other highlights, the wage rate increases sounded very similar: 7%, 4%, and 3.5% over the 3-year term. Some additional regional wage adjustments. Uniform benefit contribution rate for all jurisdictions, with significant increases in both health and retirement, representing as much as $63 increase per employee per day in some areas. Triple time paid after 15 elapsed hours. 33% increase in the nearby higher living allowance. Some artificial intelligence provisions about protecting folks from displacing any employee. The addition of Juneteenth as a holiday. Bereavement leave. So those are some of the highlights mentioned by the Area Standards Agreement Negotiations Committee.
Hey, 5 seconds, just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
So all this is going on here over the next couple of weeks. I also wanted to just see what CREW had to say about it, the Caucus of Rank and File Entertainment Workers. CREW is a reform-oriented caucus that has popped up in IATSE over the last few years. So I was curious what they're saying about this new big series of agreements. And just reading here from CREW's latest email, official IATSE updates heralded a productive end to negotiations, and IATSE members and the greater film community are waiting to find out what gains have been achieved this cycle and what issues we'll have to continue to fight for in the future. Voting on these contracts is tentatively scheduled to begin on July 14th and conclude on July 17th. We don't know exactly when IATSE members will be able to see the full memorandum of agreement that will change their wages and working conditions for the next 3 years of our lives, but IATSE emails caution it may be up to a couple weeks. The MOA is a detailed document showing all the changes that have been made to our contract in full and final language. This incredibly short timeline could leave 60,000 IATSE members with just 3 days to vote after getting the MOA. There is certainly some calls and encouragement to make sure that you are a member in good standing, and calls to encourage folks to check in with their local to make sure that they are eligible to vote on this 2024 to 27 contract. June 30th is the last day to confirm that, so very important to do that. If you're a member out in the area, you want to make sure you're a member in good standing and you can vote and participate. So the basic agreement and area standards agreement negotiations are at a tentative end, and CREW is accumulating as much information as it can directly from our locals, but members need more information from IATSE. We're not going to win the changes we need in the future without more transparency in negotiations. A union with well-informed members is a strong union. And so you may remember that IATSE CREW has had a petition out over the spring around more transparency with these contract negotiations. And they have also put out a contract checklist that they are encouraging folks to check out. And so the checklist is pretty interesting. They put that out for folks to bring to their town hall meetings, and as they get the memorandum of agreement, they can actually review this checklist and see where they think things really landed, if they feel good about it, if they don't. Again, CREW is saying that we still don't know what was in the original basic agreement and area standards agreement proposals that were traded by IATSE and AMPTP. So, there's still questions about what did the studios refuse to consider, what were the biggest sticking points, where did IATSE start with negotiations on some of these proposals. Don't have full official details of all that yet. And so we do know that negotiations are still ongoing for the Hollywood Teamsters IBT 399 and the so-called Hollywood Basic Crafts, which includes LIUNA Local 724, IBEW Local 40, OPCMIA Local 755, Plasterers and Masons, and UA Local 78 Plumbers. The Teamsters and Basic Crafts resumed talks with the AMPTP starting on July 1st, with their current negotiation date scheduled through mid-July. Most importantly, according to CREW, what we do know is that IATSE members have shared a lot of issues that were important to them. CREW compiled a demands report, which presented some of the most popular topics. And CREW, like I said, CREW has put together a 2024 contract checklist. It is out there and distributed. You can find it on their website at iatsecrew.com. If you want to check that out and compare it to the agreements, once you get information about the TAs, you'll be able to kind of evaluate from there and see what you think. And finally, CREW is hosting a contract town hall also on Sunday, July 14th at 9 a.m. Pacific time, where you can discuss both of the TAs and the results of the checklist. So that's a little bit about what's going on in Hollywood. Like I said, about 60,000 members are impacted by these series of agreements. So pretty big contract news. We'll see how the votes shake out, and once more information is released, what were some of the wins, what were some of the areas that maybe didn't gain as much. I know that there were a lot of folks who were not happy after the last contract. I believe in 2021, it squeaked by on some interesting circumstances, and there were a lot of folks who had some heartburn about that. So it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. But the writers and the actors were able to get pretty solid deals. They had to go on strike to get them. Put IATSE members in a weird predicament after having missed so much work because of those Hollywood strikes over the last year, to then be put at the negotiating table. So sending my love and solidarity to all of my fellow IATSE members on the West Coast. Look forward to hearing more about these tentative agreements, hopefully some big wins, but we'll stay tuned and see what we find out.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.